This hour on I24 News, President Trump's former national security advisor pleads guilty to lying to the FBI. Michael Flynn revealed he is cooperating fully with the investigation.
A new hurdle for peace talks between Syria and the opposition in Geneva after Syria's government delegation quits, threatening not to return.
Plus, President Trump set to declare Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Former Prime Minister Ehud Barak praises a move of the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv in an exclusive interview with I24 News.
From the I24 News studios in Times Square in New York, this is Crossroads with David Schuster and Shayna Estulin.
Good evening again. I'm Michael Schur in tonight for David, and Tal is in for Shayna. The Russian investigation has reached its way to the White House on this day. Ex-National Security Advisor Michael Flynn has pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about meeting with a Russian ambassador last year during the presidential transition.
Multiple reports say Trump advisor and son-in-law Jared Kushner directed Flynn to reach out to former Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Flynn, appearing in federal court, revealed he is cooperating with the investigation by special counsel Robert Mueller into alleged Russian interference in the 2016 election. Serena Marshall has the latest.
Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, part of Donald Trump's inner circle, in court today, pleading guilty to lying to the FBI and promising full cooperation with the special counsel. A confidant of Flynn tells ABC News Flynn said he's prepared to testify that as a candidate, Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians, initially to coordinate the fight against ISIS in Syria.
My hope is that General Flynn will tell everything he knows and tell why he was having these contacts with Russians, who directed these contacts.
The charge stems from his contacts with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak in December 2016. On December 28th, the Obama administration imposed sanctions on Russia for their election meddling. In court, prosecutors said, and Flynn confirmed, after being contacted by Kislyak the next day, Flynn coordinated with a senior official and other transition officials at Mar-a-Lago to discuss what, if anything, to communicate to the Russian ambassador about U.S. sanctions. Flynn says the transition team did not want Russia to escalate the situation, and he immediately called the Russian ambassador with that message. 2 days later, Russia announced it would not issue retaliatory sanctions. That same day, President-elect Trump tweeted, "Great move on delay by V. Putin. I always knew he was very smart." In a statement, the White House said the false statements involved mirror the false statements to White House officials, which resulted in his resignation in February of this year. And they added nothing about the guilty plea or the charge implicates anyone other than Mr. Flynn. Flynn faces up to 5 years in prison, leaving the court
lock him up,
facing the same chance he once led against Hillary Clinton during the RNC convention.
That was Serena Marshall reporting. And to further discuss these developments, let's bring in Washington correspondent Mike Viqueira. Mike, Flynn is the first person inside President Donald Trump's administration to be reached by Mueller's probe. According to reports, we're also learning that Flynn might have acted and contacted the Russian ambassador following directions coming from Jared Kushner. What might have led Michael Flynn to make a deal with the prosecutors? Why now?
Well, you know, a lot of people are looking at this and thinking it's significant that, of course, he pled guilty to making false statements to the FBI. And in fact, all the denials that we had heard over the course of the several months around the inauguration and just after the election from President Trump and his team turned out to be false. But perhaps what's most significant about this is the news, the confirmation really that Michael Flynn is cooperating with Robert Mueller, the special counsel, and everybody is waiting for the next shoe to drop. People look at the fact that there are other things that Flynn was known to be under investigation for, principally his lobbying activities on behalf of the country of Turkey. He had also had close relations with Russia, appearing at that RT dinner, sitting next to Vladimir Putin, had not registered as a foreign agent. And there was a lot of speculation that he could be on the hook for that as well. There was also speculation that his son, Michael Flynn Jr., could be in some hot water. Of course, Michael Flynn Jr., seen at his father's side many times going in and out of Trump Tower during that transition period before President Trump became president. None of that was in the indictment that was presented today in federal court, and that extraordinary scene of Michael Flynn marching into court to plead guilty to making those false statements. So the thought is that there is a cooperation agreement, and much of the sentencing will be contingent. Remember, he's on the hook for some 5 years, potentially, is Michael Flynn. A lot of people think he won't serve a day if, in fact, he does cooperate and give up more information about possible collusion or obstruction of justice within the Trump administration. So a lot of it up in the air, a lot of it subject to speculation, but a fascinating and important day in Washington.